watching Dontaesboxingnation.
Dontaesboxingnation, what's going on, guys? You guys gonna have to excuse the noise in the background. We're doing some reconstruction in the house right now. But David Morrell, arguably the most talented, gifted fighter at 168, who's been calling out David Benavidez for quite some time, after he had his impressive knockout win over Henderson this past weekend, I expected, and I think the whole boxing world expected, David Morrell to call out David Benavidez, especially considering the fact that he was on the largest stage to call out Benavidez, still in the ring right after you just knocked out your last opponent. So Morrell is asked after the fight, who do you want to fight next? And Morrell surprisingly says, everyone. You know, we're ready for everyone. He never said he wanted David Benavidez next, and that really confused me. I didn't understand that at all. Then a couple days later, his trainer Ronnie Shields comes out. He didn't feel David Morrell was ready for David Benavidez. He said he would prefer to take a different path. I mean, a lot of the things that Ronnie Shields said in this interview was shocking to me, because it is the complete opposite of what we have heard David Morrell saying, at least for the last 6 months. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and quote exactly what Ronnie Shields said about his fighter possibly fighting David Benavidez. He says, and I quote, "I don't know, to tell you the truth. As a trainer, you know, my job is to assess everything I see that he does well and didn't do so well. And then I'll put that against what I think Benavidez is. If I like it, I'll say, okay, I'm good with it. If I don't like it, then I'll say, let's hold off and wait." It's a huge fight. This kid wants to fight everybody, but sometimes you have to save fighters from themselves, you know, and take a better path so that you don't run into something that you're not ready for. At the same time, let me tell you something. The kid, man, he wants to learn and he wants to beat everybody. But I just feel that I'll take a clear look at it. Right now, do I feel confident that he could beat Benavidez or Caleb Plant? I think he'd give them all a run for their money right now. But I feel when the kid is ready, then we do that. I don't want to rush him into something. He goes and beats Benavidez, then what? He's not going to get the Canelo Alvarez fight. Right now, you know, I think we've just got to be real picky on who we fight and let this kid continue to grow. He's only 24 years old, he's a baby, and I think we have to let him grow. And once he finishes growing, I'm willing to bet he'll be a light heavyweight soon. It's unbelievable how this kid trains. He loves it, and that's what you want. And I don't want to discourage him in any way. I don't want to put him in something that maybe he's not ready for. You know, it's going to be a wait and see thing. Of course, it ain't going to be my decision, but I do have input." End quote. Well, it's a good thing that he admitted that it's not going to be his decision at the end of the day. I disagree with almost everything that Ronnie Shields said right there. I do believe that David Morrell is ready. That's not saying that he goes in there and he beats David Benavidez hands down, but I think he's ready for that type of fight. Now, if they were talking about putting Morrell in a ring with someone that was far more technical, someone who was far more evasive than David Benavidez, like a Bivol, an Andrade, or even a Jamal Charlo, then I would say, okay, maybe Ronnie, he has a little bit of a point. But Ronnie Shields, he says that Morrell is only 24 years old, he's a baby, but David Benavidez is around 24 years old. Something else Ronnie said that made absolutely no sense. He says, okay, let's say we go out there and we beat David Benavidez. We're not going to get the Canelo Alvarez fight. If you beat David Benavidez, you don't need the Canelo Alvarez fight. Now, anything after that would be great, but you won't be in position to where you will have to rely on getting the Canelo Alvarez fight if you beat the boogeyman in the division, the guy that no one wants to fight, the Mexican monster. Canelo Alvarez just came off of a loss. And I can tell you right now, if Canelo continues to fight the best competition, this is the beginning of the end of his career, no doubt about it, unless Canelo Alvarez goes back to fighting C-level fighters. So when it comes to David Benavidez, that would be a huge win. That makes you the man at 168. It makes absolutely no sense to say, oh, well, you know, what's the reason of beating David Benavidez. It's not like we're going to get the Canelo fight. It sounds like Ronnie Shields has zero confidence that his fighter, Morrell, can compete with David Benavidez, and I just don't see it that way. I don't see it that way at all. If Ronald Ellis can compete with David Benavidez, there's absolutely no way Morrell can't compete with David Benavidez and do much, much better than Ronald Ellis because he's a much, much better fighter. David Benavidez said that the Anthony Durrell fight was his most difficult fight, and Morrell is levels above Anthony Durrell. So I completely disagree with that assessment from trainer Ronnie Shields. However, David Morrell, he hasn't opposed anything that his trainer has said so far. The only people that have responded to what Ronnie Shields said is David Benavidez's team, Jose Benavidez, which is exactly what I expected was going to happen, especially when you hear Ronnie Shields say something like this. So Jose Benavidez, he responded, and this is what he had to say. Jose said on Instagram, "All the trash you were talking, no more running. Let's make this fight happen. No more ducking. Let's give the fans a great fight. Grow some balls." End quote.
Aquí estamos entrenando. David Benavidez ya regresó al campamento. Un mensaje para David Morrell, que estaba hablando muchas cosas que iban a noquear a David Benavidez. Estamos listos para noviembre, diciembre. Hay que hacer la final. Ojalá tenga huevitos. Hay niveles en este negocio. Ojalá que de veras quiera pelear. Que no se eche para atrás. David Morrell, te estamos esperando. Noviembre, diciembre.
And he even said it in Spanish to make sure Morrell understood it clearly. Well, this is disappointing to me. As a boxing fan, I felt that David Morrell and David Benavidez, they really needed each other to propel their careers. But if it's up to trainer Ronnie Shields, he sounds as if he never really wants to see that fight. He talks about, Morrell moving up to light heavyweight, and he didn't sound like he was really interested in the fight at all. We'll see if David Morrell comes out and he says something different. I mean, you still have, when it comes to David Benavidez, you still have potential fights with Jermall Charlo. There's still a possibility he will move up to 168. He said that he will fight David Benavidez next year. I know that's a fight that PBC, they desperately want to make, just like they were trying to make Charlo versus Canelo. But if Canelo doesn't take the Jermall Charlo fight, then I feel PBC, they will push really hard to make Jermall Charlo versus David Benavidez. It's hard for me to believe that Caleb Plant will take a David Benavidez fight, especially coming off of a knockout loss to Canelo Alvarez. Then you have Demetrius Andrade, who was in a really good position to land the David Benavidez fight because he was fighting for the WBO interim belt at 168, which would have made him the mandatory for Canelo's WBO belt, which would have forced Canelo Alvarez to fight Andrade or vacate another belt. There was already talks that if Andrade and Benavidez could not get the Canelo fight, then they would go ahead and fight against each other once Andrade becomes the WBO mandatory. So unfortunately for David Benavidez, the hunt and the search for a really, really good opponent continues. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man ScalpCarolinas on Instagram. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, Visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.